Hey guys, it's Melissa here. As you can see, I am not at home. I am actually just arriving at the cabin. This is Mother's Day weekend, and we spent the day in Roseville going shopping. I went antique shopping, and then we went plant shopping. And now we're gonna spend the rest of the day, or the rest of the weekend, I should say, here at the cabin, which is my favorite place to be in my entire world. Now, I did a tour last year, I think it was, maybe it was the year before, of the cabin, and just in case you've missed it, I'll do another one just so you can see. I have to pull plants out of my trunk of my car because they've been sitting in the car this afternoon. It's a warm weekend this weekend, so I need to get those out. But this is the first time I've been at the cabin all year long, and so we still have the shutters on the cabin. I do need to take them off. If you hear the river, that is the American River. We are pretty close to the American River, so I'm facing the cabin at the moment. The river is behind me down that mountain right there. So this cabin has been in my family for generations. My great-grandparents actually built this cabin right after the war. My grandfather came out of the war and he wanted a place to retreat. And that's what they decided. They looked for many spots to actually build their own cabin, and they settled on this spot. It's a beautiful spot. Unfortunately, we did have a fire just a few years ago. It was the Caldor fire, and the fire swept through this area. So we have a lot of dead trees now. The place is still, of course, as beautiful as ever. You know, you have to adapt. Either you adapt or you move, you know, and I'm not going to move because this is a family heirloom. My grandmother was 5 years old when they built this cabin. So my grandmother grew up here, my mother grew up here, I grew up here, and now my family is able to grow up here as well. We are very fortunate. I actually own the cabin now, so we get to come up here whenever we want to, and I love that. I'll actually take you guys inside to show you around what the cabin actually looks like in just a little bit, but I do need to get these plants out of my trunk. I'm not going to take them up to the cabin like I normally do because we are going home tomorrow, and this is already evening. So I don't want to have to hike them up there, especially since we don't have any water at the cabin right now. The water's shut off. So that's my husband's job tomorrow, is actually to turn on the water, get get the cabin ready for summer, get it working, a working cabin, so we actually have plumbing. Look at all the plants I bought. I'm so excited. I can't open up the bottom of the trunk because everything will fall out. Actually, I don't know if I'll be able to pull these out. My husband may have to come in here and pull these out because I don't know if I'll be able to. They're pretty big. But I got a lot of pretty stuff in here, as you can see. Somebody's drink. I don't know whose drink that is. So this cabin is in the town of Kybers, California. It is off of Highway 50, right, like I said, right off the American River. And it's so beautiful. A little span of the cabin. So there's our cabin. As you can see, we still have the shutters up there. Nothing's been taken down yet. So pretty. This is fire damage from the fire. We've had a lot of trees just completely destroyed and ruined. A lot of our ponderosa pines. I think every single ponderosa pine on our lot actually is destroyed. Now here at our forest, we do not own the land. The land is actually owned by the Forest Service. We just own the cabin itself. So it may not make sense to a lot of people, but that's how Forest Service cabins are. Is the land is owned by the government, and we just lease the land from the government, if that makes any sense. This is our driveway. Let's see if I can show you the American River. We lost a lot of cabins on our lot. So there's the American River. We lost, I think, 4 cabins, so 2 over here, 1 directly in front of us burned down. Our cabin is made all of wood, so I don't know, by the mercy of God, honestly, it did not burn down. The other cabin was right there by that boulder that burned down as well. But I will say we have a beautiful view of the river now, which we never had before. And that's so beautiful. Mosquitoes. Now, before I take you inside to actually show you what the cabin looks like, I want to talk about a couple of the plants that we got. Now, I don't live anywhere near Roseville, so it's a drive to get there, but I love going to Green Acres because it's a lot cheaper than nurseries in my area. So when I'm up here, I like to travel there and buy some stuff. The only problem is if I'm just trying to test out plants to see if I like it, it is a hassle to return if I need to, but you can return them within I think they said within a year it can be returned. So that part is nice. And I do know that I come here, we do go to Roseville a few times a year, so I do know that I will be able to come back if needed. But I got a lot of plants that I wanted to try out, but I'm not sure if I'm going to end up liking it. I bought a lot of red. That's the problem with not having a plan, is that you buy on impulse rather than buying on what your plan is to be. So some of the things that I got. All right, so some of the things that I got, as you can see, I bought some barberries that are so beautiful. Look how bright red they are. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. I'm thinking about putting these in front of my limelight hydrangea. I got, I think, about 6 of them. So I don't know if that's gonna be too much red. I think it's beautiful, but we'll see when I actually place it in there. And if it's just too much, then I'm gonna have to return them. Darn, come back to Roseville, right? I got this baby spruce. This is called, what was it called? Monty. It was called Monty. It's supposed to stay pretty small, and it's extremely slow growing, only a couple of inches a year. So it's going to stay compact for quite a long time. I did end up getting more heucheras. I found some cherry truffles, which I needed for the front yard. I didn't have enough to do the front yard, so I used them in other pots that I planted up a couple weeks ago. So I got more for the front yard. I did grab a couple more herbs that I wanted to have, and sweet potato vines in there. And this was a new one. What is this one called? Germander? I'm not even gonna try. I don't know. This is what I got. And it's supposed to be an evergreen for us, and it's a ground cover. And I thought this would be really pretty in front of the barberries. I think the colors will kind of just work with each other. Ugh, said that's so heavy, but I think this is going to look so pretty. Plus, as my daughter says, that if it doesn't work in the backyard, I could put it in the front yard too. We do have our annual block party coming up in July, and so I do need to start planning the front yard because my front yard's not looking too great in my opinion. So I do need to work on that. Oh, they're starting to get, I see the electricity is now turned on. It's so exciting. There's the cabin. This deck has been redone since it was built, and this deck can withstand, the new California law was it had to withstand earthquake, a certain amount of snow melt or snow pack, and I forget something else, but it had to withstand so many things. So this thing, the cabin's gonna be long gone, but this deck will probably be here forever. There's our redwood tree that goes through the deck. So over here, you have to climb up this mountain. It may not seem like it's very steep, but trust me, it is very steep. My car is way down there, so this is uphill. Aw, home sweet home. I'm telling you, this place is so important. My great-grandparent built all these steps all the way up to the John. We only got plumbing a few years ago, so not having to use an outhouse now has been such an upgrade. But I'll take you inside now and see what it looks like. All right, welcome in. This is a cabin. It is a work in progress. We are in the middle of remodeling it. So this right here, it's a little dark in here. This right here is an original outside door. And like I said, we never had a bathroom before. So when my uncle put in a new bathroom right here, he just bought a regular door. Well, I don't want just a regular door. I want something original to the cabin. So we took this outside door, and we're gonna install it into the bathroom so it stays true. Now, the cabin originally did not have any walls. It was all studs. As you can see, we just got here, so things are just out. But last year, we decided to remodel and add some walls in the kitchen. So the kitchen is actually, it's not new, but it's new for us. So for our anniversary last year, my husband was so sweet and said we can come to the cabin and remodel the kitchen for me. And so that's what we did. We pulled out the old kitchen cabinets that were here, and we installed these ones, and I love the way it turned out. I think it's so pretty. This is the original cast iron sink. Like I said, we literally just pulled up, so I have not cleaned anything out. This is pretty yucky still. I don't know why these are out on the counter. These should have been put away. Let's It's got water in it. I let my teenage son come here alone over the winter time. He left those out. That was a no-no. So like I said, this is the original cast iron sink that came here. Everything is pretty much original, but I have tweaked a few things. Like this is a new faucet. And like I said, these are the new cabinets that are so beautiful. I love antiques, so I brought antiques in here. This is my stove. I love this stove. So this stove is a Frigidaire. This is actually my great-grandparents' old stove that they brought here when they actually ended up bringing electricity into the cabin, because for years they didn't even have electricity. So when they got a new stove at their house, they brought this one up here to the cabin because they always reuse things. And I'm telling you, this is my favorite stove in the entire world. Nothing cooks as well as this thing does. I want to be buried with this thing. That's how much I love it. It will never break because I will spend as much money as needed to have this thing continue to work. It's missing a couple of pieces, and of course I'm going to replace them eventually, but it kind of needs money. So that's down on the list, but this thing is my pride and joy. And same with the fridge. So this is a General Electric. Again, this was their hand-me-down. When they got a new fridge at their home, they brought this up to the cabin. I love it. Best fridge in the world. So wonderful. And it should still be in, yeah. And it works so well. I'm telling you, this thing works amazingly. That's the thing with the old appliances. They never die. So I don't know why we continue to buy new stuff, because they don't last forever and they don't work nearly as well. So I've told my husband, when our stuff goes at our house, we are replacing it with old stuff because I love this stuff so much. My uncle built this cabinet in high school. So my uncle is my grandmother's brother. So this is my great uncle. He built this cabinet in high school. So that's pretty special here in the cabin. This is not an antique, obviously, but this is something I use on a regular basis. This is our water dispenser. The reason why I like it is because I can have hot water for tea. My husband can have cold water for those hot days, and it works out perfectly. And just have a 5-gallon, oops, how do I open it? Over here. Just have a 5-gallon water in here. Box right here, I have more lights that need to be installed. I'm gonna install one right here in the entryway to brighten up this area because it's awfully dark in here once the sun goes down. These are our lights here in the kitchen, and these again are just the lights that they had. So I just keep that. Right here, I don't know what I'm gonna do over here. My husband put boards up here to see if I wanted to close it off before, and I didn't like it. It felt just too closed off. So I wanna do something over here, but I'm not quite sure what I wanna do. Yes, this is a fixer-upper, but that's okay. This is still home, and I love it. Even though this isn't in the kitchen, I still wanted this area done because I wanted to hang up my cuckoo clock. And these hooks are for the dog leashes, which I think are just so pretty. But this is it. Look at 4 beds, table, and kitchen. For a family of 7, you've got to make it work, right? A lot of people, when I explain how tiny my cabin is, I think it may be 350 square feet. I'm not actually positive, but it's home. You know, it's cozy, it's comfy. This is how I grew up all summer long. This is how I lived. So this is normal for me. This is normal for my children. This is normal for my family. So I know a lot of cabins have couches, some have TVs. We don't have any of those things. We don't have Wi-Fi up here. This is it. But you know what happens during the summertime? My family reconnects and we become so incredibly close that we can't get in our regular everyday life at home. It's so different. And we don't live in a huge house at home. Our house at home is only 1,700 square feet. I mean, it's a big size home, but it's not like we're all in separate wings of an area and so we never see each other. But when you're this close to one another, you are forced, truly, you're forced to get along, because who wants to live miserably, right? So what ends up happening is, you know, maybe there's squabbles for the first couple of days, but by week 2, week 3, everything is fine. And everybody has learned to get along with one another, and the bonding, the memories that this family makes when we're up here, you don't get that at home. So coming here is so incredibly special for that reason. Now, these are not the original bedspreads to the cabin. Unfortunately, after years of washing the older bedspreads, they just kind of disintegrated, so I did have to buy new ones. And so what I did instead was I bought duvet covers and brought up down comforters as well. And so now we have sheets and everything. When I was a kid, we used sleeping bags. That was it. And I hate using sleeping bags. Sleeping bags were just always so tight and you couldn't roll over nicely. So having actual sheets is wonderful. And having a duvet cover, I don't get cold anymore. I used to get cold all the time growing up, but not anymore. Never am I cold here. Now, these curtains are original to the cabin. My great-grandmother and my mother actually made these curtains. That's from my understanding anyway. They are yellow with green stripes. Can you see? I know the lighting is terrible in here, but I bet you can guess kind of what era that was actually made. Oh, and the original covers for the bed, it was like cheetah print. So yeah, you can guess the era that those were actually made in. This dining table, once again, this was built by my uncle. I think he was out of high school, but maybe he was still in high school when he built this table. And it's held up pretty well. The benches are starting to really not work out well. My husband is gonna have to redo these, but the tabletop is looking beautiful. And of course, I brought in my touches. So I've got my table runner here that I love. I think it's so beautiful. This lamp, there's a funny story with this lamp. Someone gave this as a gift to my great-grandmother, my Grammy, and she, you know, what are you gonna do? You have to put it somewhere, right? So she brought it to the cabin. So it's just a little funny thing. I don't know what this is. There's some sort of stain on it. I'm gonna have to take that home and wash it. I don't know. I always take things home in the springtime to wash it. I used to take it home in the wintertime, kind of like closing up the cabin, so I bring everything home, but then I had to store it at home, and who wanted to do that? So now what I do is I bring it home in the springtime, our first trip. We're gonna bring everything home, get everything washed, and the next time I can bring it back up here and actually have fresh stuff. But this bookcase is special because for our anniversary last year, I took my husband antique shopping and he wanted a bookcase, so he found this bookcase. He really liked it. We went back to the cabin and thought about it for a couple of days, then went back to Roseville, purchased it, and it's so pretty. Eventually, you won't be able to see all the slats. I will say, having exposed beams may not look as nice as things covered up, but it functions much better in my opinion. Number one reason why. The only thing I'm afraid of are rodents. I cannot stand them. I have slept in the car instead of sleeping here at the cabin because there have been rodents inside the cabin. I won't tolerate it. Having exposed walls like this makes it so there's no place for rodents to hide. So now that we're covering up the walls, it's like, that's in the back of my mind, like, oh no, what am I gonna do? We put hardware cloth inside the cabin, but on the exterior walls to kind of block any rodents from chewing their way in. But if it's already in, then that's not gonna help us. This is our deck. Again, like I said, nothing's been cleaned up. We just arrived. Oh, but it's so good to be home. And it smells so good here. This is a little pathway that my great-grandparents built, more than likely my Grammy, my great-grandma. And it leads over here. We always called this the food rock. She always said that, you know, animals would come and eat it, which is true, but it was probably more than likely dogs that actually ate it. So, because we always had dogs. I was very close with my great-grandparents, especially my great-grandmother. She passed away when I was a senior in high school, so I was 17 years old when she passed away, right before graduation, right before my sister's wedding. I am one of those very few fortunate people who actually got to know their great-grandparent. Not many people can say that. So I feel incredibly blessed that not only do I own the cabin that she built, and just think, she was younger than me when she built this cabin. I think she was about 36 years old when she built this cabin. She had 3 little babies at home. And can you imagine? And they built it themselves. The only thing they got help with was the roof. And he just gathered, my great-grandfather just gathered a group of friends, and they built the roof together. But everything else, the 2 of them did along with their children. Can you imagine the discipline, the hard work, the work ethic that they had to have. And imagine the closeness. It's so special. The wood that was built on the outside of this cabin is the redwood that was here on this lot. So that is another thing that's extremely special to me. And I feel so privileged that we get to call this home. During the pandemic, this is where we were the entire time. So I know a lot of people suffered and were in apartments or just stuck where they were. We were here at the cabin. And so every day we got to go swimming in the river. We got to hang out at the cabin, family bonding. And I think we were here almost the entire year. So I think it was like 9 months we were here at the cabin while the kids' school was closed. Now, I'm sure there's so many other things that I forgot to say that I wanted to share with you guys about my cabin, but at the moment I can't remember, and I'm hungry for dinner and I haven't even gotten started on making dinner. I think it's almost 8 o'clock right now. But I just wanted to say thank you for joining me, and I know that this is not the typical, but there's trees, right? There's trees and there's bushes. I don't know what they're called. I know there's ponderosa pine. I know there's redwoods. There's oak trees, but I don't remember the kind of oak tree. Is it oak? Is it black oak or white oak? I think it's black oak. I don't know, white oak. I don't know what's in our forest. But there's also mosquitoes all over the place too. And I forgot to bring tennis shoes, so I am literally wearing my sandals, and that's what I have for the whole weekend. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me, and I'm probably gonna have a lot of videos this summer of being up at the cabin because I plan on being here most of the summer, so this won't be the only time your guys gonna see it. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Bye.